What's up, gardeners? Well, if you've been here a while, you know I've spent the last few years really working on clearing out this forested space. It used to be full of things like Japanese honeysuckle, barberry, invasive barberry, as well as Multiflora Rose, English ivy, a bunch of junk that just needed to be removed. But as you can see now, I've really done a good job clearing it out. And once I got all of the bulk of it cleared out, which if you want to see a video about more of the details of how I went through it, check the description. I'll leave a link to a video where I really go into some depth about that process. But once I had it cleared out, I knew that I needed to fill it with some more native shrubs. So I bought about 100 native shrubs to my area. I'm here in Westchester, Pennsylvania, zone 6B, 7A. So I bought a bunch of native shrubs, planted those in. They're starting to grow beautifully, like this gorgeous dogwood that I have right here, as well as some other shrubs you can see that are just, you know, about hip height at the moment. And while I was able to remove the bulk of those invasive species, I'm still continually using my brush cutter and my string trimmer to remove any seedlings or other invasive plant material that is still popping up out of the ground. But one of the most beautiful things that has happened is that after really removing a lot of these invasive plants, I've found that a lot of native plants have come back to my forested area. So in this video, I want to show you guys some of the amazing native plants that have started to reappear in my garden setting. Now for me, a lot of these native plants have been brand new to me, so I'm going to do my best to identify them, but if I do make some mistakes, please correct me down in the comment section below so that I can identify correctly what I have growing in my yard. So one of the first ones to really pop up all over the place is this beautiful diminutive flower. This is the Claytonia virginica, and you can see it's a really nice little plant, but over here, all of these white flowers that you're seeing growing in this area is that beautiful Claytonia. Such a lovely splash of color. They only bloom for a short while, but definitely worth it. Now another plant that I've found pretty much showing its face all over the place is the mayapple, which is a pretty well-known native plant. And you can see many times they do, you know, grow interspersed with some other plants that probably aren't the best. Now, one of my problems is I don't know all of the plants. So to me, this looks like a weed, but I'm really not sure. So I have to continually try to identify plants that I'm uncertain of in order to make sure I'm keeping the good ones and getting rid of the bad ones. Like I was saying, I still have a lot of, you know, seedlings and small plants that are popping up. Like this is a Multiflora Rose that is, you know, they keep coming back. It's really tough. But next to it, you can see this is a Geranium maculatum, which started to pop up, and there's more over here as well. Back here is a really lovely little clump with gorgeous pink flowers, and this is the native geranium, and I hope that it continues to self-seed all over the place because it is absolutely divine. Now I was just trying to identify this plant. Whenever a plant has really unique structure like this, I really want to make sure that I don't remove it until I can figure out what it is. And I think this is Collinsonia richweed. It's really unique how it just gets nice and tall like that. Very out of the ordinary. And you can see there's a little bit more that just kind of pops its way out, pops its way up all over the place. Now this gorgeous little plant, I believe this is anemone. I'm forgetting the species, I'll type it in, but I have a lot of these little lovely woodland anemones that are blooming right now. Some of them are finishing up, and they just kind of create these really lovely little sections. And then just right over here, right next to it, is what I believe to be black cohosh, Actea racemosa, which it should, if that is exactly indeed what it is, it should make some really lovely flowers in the summertime. And then I have another little one right here just next to it. And I found some more of it back in that section as well. And I do think that this is a species of Carex, maybe Carex blonda, but they're also extremely hard for me to identify because, you know, there are a lot of invasive little grasses, but I do believe that this is a Carex. You know, there is the saying, sedge, carex, also known as a sedge. Sedges have edges, and so when you feel down on the bottom of the stem, it should feel like it's rather than being a round stem like a grass would have, it should have distinctly tactile edges to the stems. Now this plant that I was just taking a look at, I do believe this is Viola pubescens, which is a really lovely ground covering plant. It's all over this little section of my forest, which used to be totally full of the Japanese barberry. And now it is actually very much full of that viola, as well as some lovely ferns that grow all over the place. But it's still tough because I have the weeds that are also growing right in the mix. So I really try to remove them as I can. And if you're unsure why we want to grow or encourage native plants, maybe it should seem obvious, but wherever you might be living, there are native pollinators to your region. And the pollinators that are native to your region have adapted mechanisms for feeding that correspond to the native plants in your area. So by encouraging the native plant life, you are in essence encouraging the native pollinators to thrive, because you are providing a food source for those native pollinators, as well as other insects that might not be pollinators. You're providing food that they have over time adapted to be able to consume that plant material or use that plant material in a way that is helpful to them. Plants like a butterfly bush, which is known to be beloved by the butterflies. It's not native to our North American gardens, and in fact, many of our native pollinators cannot consume the pollen from a butterfly bush that has been imported from overseas, from Europe, for instance. So that is why we want to always do our best to introduce and encourage the native plants in our gardens as much as possible. Now this guy has finished flowering. This is the dogtooth lily, or I can't remember the Latin name of it, but this is another ground covering plant that that I find all over my garden. It's really lovely. It has these thick foliage. It's kind of mottled looking. It's like green with like a, I don't know, almost like a bluish tint to it. Very lovely. So out of the entire garden, we have about a 3-acre property here. This is the section of my garden that I really put my main focus on, to really try and encourage it, because it's like, this is something good that I can do. The front of my garden, I have a lot of ornamental plants that aren't native to my area, but I love them because they're beautiful. It also teaches me a lot, but this is where really my heart and soul has been poured into. So along with encouraging the natural native species, I also am introducing some native species. Like here, I just planted some Asclepias incarnata. I'll remove these guys, we don't like these. So, you know, not only do you want to encourage the ones that are existing, but also planting other native species is a great thing to do. That's a viburnum, and this is all in a really lovely little creek setting. I planted a bunch of carex over here. I'm forgetting what that other plant right next to it was that I planted. So it really is, you know, all about preservation of the natives as well as planting the natives. And it just looks so nice and natural, like it should be. Like it's meant perfectly for this area. This next flower is probably the most famous out of all the flowers that I've found in my garden, and it would be the beautiful Jack in the Pulpit. Look at this gorgeous plant. It's in the same family, family as like a calla lily, for instance. It's in the aroid family. It has a gorgeous foliage and that classic Jack in the Pulpit flower. And I probably have found over a couple dozen of these guys just randomly throughout my garden, throughout this forested area. So fun to find things like that blooming that never would have been thriving here when it was just covered with all that invasive junk. Now this next plant is one that, like, to me, it looks like it could definitely be a weed when it just looks like this. So upon identifying it, it appears to be Geum canadense, which is the white avens. But without flowers, it looks like, you know, that could just be a weed. But once you discover that it is a native plant, it makes you feel so much better that you not only you have another native species, but something that you don't have to remove from your garden. I love that. And then moving over into this more moist area, we have some of our lovely skunk cabbage, as well as some erigeron philadelphus. Looks like it's just about to start to open up some really lovely pink blooms. I'll have to come back here in a couple days and take a look. And then you can see, these are some native ferns that I have growing in my front property, and I have been over the past couple of years doing a pretty good job at dividing them in the autumn time and replanting them. So it really looks nice with all of the different ferns out here. I planted a couple more dogwoods back here. This area tends to flood up, so I've planted it pretty heavily with those ferns, sort of heavily with the ferns, as well as some more shrubs that can handle being inundated with water at times. And they're doing pretty well. Now this guy, I have tried to get rid of him. I've cut the main stem, and it's just, I've had a really difficult time getting rid of that English ivy. So that is on my to-do list, to try to tackle that once again. This is some really beautiful blue sedge. I'm not sure which species it is. But really and truly, things are starting to look much more like a native forest than an invasive species patch. Definitely one of my favorite things to do when I have time. Come out here, slowly work on identifying the plants, and I can quickly train my mind that when I come out here with the string trimmer, what plants to avoid, which ones to target. A labor of love, a slow process, but it's well worth the effort. As long as you have a really long time horizon, it's not something that you can accomplish immediately. It's something that you should try to accomplish over a few years. So I just started cleaning out here with my string trimmer, and I came upon a few more little beauties. This is another erigeron. This is erigeron pulchellus, I believe. This is Robin's plantain, and this is just so gorgeous. Look at that nice basal foliage and these radial flowers. I have some other ones right here as well. And this is why I go slow with my string trimmer. And then I started to make a fire, and I was reminded of a spirea that I discovered last year, which this was like the first native plant that when I discovered it, it was like, it really got me like super amped, because I've always loved spirea. And this native one is really gorgeous. It flowers like in July, I believe. And you can see it's just right here, mixed with all this other nasty stuff. But I have it kind of sectioned off by these stones, so I make sure that they do not get mowed or trimmed. Another little gorgeous shrubby plant, actually. And at the base of this beech tree, I found this little cluster of what turned out to be dwarf ginseng growing all over the place. That's pretty cool. I've never seen dwarf ginseng before, never flowers like this. Wow. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little look into my forest garden, how it's progressing, how it is starting to really take shape, and all of the lovely plants that are starting to re-flourish once again after all of the efforts that we put in. And hopefully that will motivate you to keep going on your property, or just enjoy seeing some more native plant life here in my garden in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Anyways, thanks for joining me. I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.